McCowan and Shannon back with you. When we call on Richard ZOKOL to join us, it's usually because there's a major event coming up, or in this case,
there is a big event.
Well, it's a big event in Canada, but it's not a major event. We have another week before that happens. The Canadian Open will be played here in Toronto at St. George's. Richard ZOKOL's here to talk about that, but also some other things internationally that are going on. And I don't have to tell you, Dick, that the first Live Tour event will be contested this week as well, opposite the Canadian Open. And there's an interesting group of players that have committed to this tour. Poulter, Westwood, Garcia, Oosthuizen, Kevin Na the other day. But the big name is Dustin Johnson, who has made his commitment known, I don't know, about a week or so ago. Yeah. And that has created quite a buzz and a stir and a flurry of opinion in the media, mostly from people who know nothing about golf, nothing about the Live Tour, nothing about the history of it. But give me your take on it. What do you make of this? Did it surprise you, first of all?
Well, it did surprise me, the headline of Dustin Johnson deciding to choose to breach his agreement with the RBC as an ambassador and not play in the Canadian Open, particularly when a month ago, when Phil Mickelson, or 2 months ago, when Phil Mickelson opened his mouth and blew himself up. It sent Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau, who were thought to move to jump to the Live Golf Group, back to the PGA Tour. And Dustin Johnson said he's a PGA Tour guy, he's not going to be jumping. And it gave some people comfort that he was going to do it. But then last Wednesday, he changed his mind. And in that he's and I'm of the opinion that if you're a player and you have options to play other tours, you have every right to play any tour you choose to do.
Agreed.
But that's one thing. Yet another one is to breach your obligations, your contractual obligations, and your duty to a company. And he did that to RBC, and it put them in a very awkward position, as you guys in Toronto are watching right now. RBC, upon this notice, had to obviously deal with what they're going to do, how they're going to deal with him. But immediately they're going to have to pull down all the headline banners around Toronto and around the tournament to disassociate themselves with what Dustin has done. So there's damage in that, and there's a problem with that. And that's unfortunate. I wish Dustin Johnson would have played and honored his commitment with RBC, played in the RBC Canadian Open this week, and then thereafter made his decision to jump.
Well, even though RBC has numerous tour players who wear the logo on their sleeve primarily and commit to coming as a result of that, DJ was also, I hate to say spokesperson, but he was the face of the golf face for RBC and their commercials that air all over the place. And those had to be pulled as well.
That's right.
And the production cost of that is considerable. But I will say this to you, Richard. I do not know, and I don't know that you do, I'll ask you, if Richard ZOKOL has actually breached an agreement with RBC, or did he have...
You mean Dustin Johnson? Richard ZOKOL, we're happy to take Dustin Johnson's agreement with RBC.
I apologize.
In fact, if Richard won't take it, I'll take it.
You guys knew what I meant.
Yes.
Dustin Johnson. We don't know that he breached his contract at this point, do we?
No, technically, no. It's an assumption on our part. It's speculation. And there's also a couple other players. Webb Simpson and Matt Kuchar are not going to be playing this week because they can't get into the country.
And Brent Snedeker, too.
Brent Snedeker as well. Okay, there you go. So, I mean, okay, those chose not to take the vax, and they got to follow the laws of our nation. And that's what
but RBC now has severed ties with Dustin, though. RBC has severed ties.
They have, and quite frankly, they have there's an interesting position on that. So what if they take a position and take a claim against, maybe they take a claim against him on damages, because as you alluded to, Bob, their cost of productions and him being kind of their spokesperson on their ambassador team. Not that RBC needs the money, but go after them for damages and perhaps give that money to Golf Canada and Golf Development Canada and make a stand, a principled stand, perhaps. Maybe that's an option that they would look at.